Hey everyone, something I'd like to touch on in these videos, in addition to my specific projects, is the game development process more generally. The tools for creating and sharing your own games are more accessible than ever now, and I think that's really great because it means new people from all sorts of backgrounds and with all sorts of interests can help push the medium forward and explore new definitions of what games are and what they are for. So, as a small contribution towards demystifying that game development process, I thought I'd do a very quick run through of the tools that I personally use. If you're a seasoned developer, there won't be many surprises here, but if you're interested in starting on your own game development journey, hopefully there'll be something useful for you. Everything I'm going to mention is completely free to use, and in several cases it's open source as well, so you can just go and grab it all as soon as you're done watching. So first up, perhaps unsurprisingly, is Unity. It's a fully featured game engine used by professional studios and independent devs alike. I really love using Unity because I can create stuff with it more quickly and seamlessly than in any other package I've ever tried. We actually prototyped Sea of Thieves with Unity at Rare and then built the entirety of Yooka-Laylee with it at Playtonic. And whenever I have a solo project, I always reach for Unity first. If you want to make games and you only take one item from this list, I definitely recommend making Unity that one. Next up is Visual Studio. This is what I use to actually write code for my Unity projects. You can now grab a copy of this for free whenever you download Unity. It's really powerful, it's used by industry professionals, and it integrates seamlessly with Unity, so you can edit and debug your game with it. I mostly use the programming language C#, which I also recommend, but the reasons for that are a little outside the scope of this video. So sometimes if I'm working on a smaller project, maybe a bit of web development in JavaScript or some HTML and CSS, Visual Studio can be overkill. And in those scenarios, I want a simpler text editor, but I still want some of the niceties that Visual Studio provides, such as syntax highlighting and autocomplete. So in those cases, I use Sublime Text. It has a free trial version, but you do need to buy a license for continued use. So as your project starts getting bigger, or if you're working with anyone except yourself, it's a really good idea to start using source control, also known as version control, to manage your project. With this, you can always access an earlier version of your project if something goes wrong. You can track your progress, see when issues were introduced, and more easily collaborate with other people. The specifics of version control are quite complicated, but I tend to use Git, with TortoiseGit providing a nice integration for Windows, and GitHub as an online repository to keep all my projects safe. So, although I'm a programmer by trade, I found it's really useful to be able to create some basic art assets for my projects, even if I can only go as far as making placeholders that will have to be replaced later on. So to create 3D assets, I use Blender, which is a completely free and open source 3D modeling tool. Recently, I've been really delving into learning this tool in detail because it's quite a complicated bit of kit, but it's been around for ages now, so there's a load of great tutorials and learning resources online that can help you get started with the basics. For creating 2D artwork, including user interfaces and title screens and that sort of thing, I use GIMP, which is basically a free version of Photoshop. It does a lot of the same things that Photoshop can without the price tag. It's also handy for creating images for videos like this one, and you can do proper 2D art in it if you have the skill set, which I don't. So DaVinci Resolve is a video editing, color grading, and audio tool all in one big, free, professional, or at least semi-professional package. It can do a lot of really advanced stuff, but it's also what I've been using to put together these videos. It's got a bit of a learning curve, but you can learn the basics pretty quickly online, and there's a bunch of nice resources for that. And I think going forward, it's going to be a really useful tool to know for creating trailers and other kind of promotional assets. So OBS Studio is a free and open source tool for recording videos and also doing live streams. I haven't done any of the latter yet, but I've used this tool to capture footage of my desktop and also my game as it's running in Unity. So this tool can be useful for videos like this one, doing live streams of your finished game or your game that's in development, but also just grabbing footage for trailers and promotional material. So just in the same vein as OBS Studio, I thought this one was worth mentioning because you may even already have it on your computer. If you have an NVIDIA graphics card, then you probably use GeForce Experience to keep your drivers up to date and that sort of thing. But you can also use it to record footage of games running on DirectX. So this is really useful for capturing high resolution footage of your game in Unity or other engines. I have found though that if I want to use this with my Unity builds, I need to make sure that in the project's build settings, I've changed the Direct3D full screen modes to be exclusive. So sometimes if you want to show your game off, a video might be overkill, but a screenshot isn't going to really do it justice. In that case, you might want to create a GIF, and Screen to GIF is a really useful bit of kit for doing that. It can record a section of your screen, whether it's a video or a game playing in the background, and let you turn that into a GIF. You can also trim the GIF down, change the speed at which it's running, all that kind of stuff. It's completely free and open source, and it's really easy to use. One last free and open source tool now is Audacity, which is a powerful audio editor that's really handy for sound effects and music for your games. You can trim audio clips, add transitions or fades, adjust volume levels and effects, all that kind of stuff, and much more. And that's about it really for my most commonly used tools. I've left links to all of these in the video description below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or send me a message and I'll try my best to answer. And thank you for watching.